Berserk lost me as a fan, and I did get back to it recently when they got off that fucking boat. But as bad as I feel, I think that anime fans, and this is a very important topic for a lot of Anitubers, but I think
Mhm.
we give too much leeway to these creators when it comes to their hiatuses. I understand it's important to not to burn yourself out, and being hunched over a table drawing manga all day is not good. Like comic book artists will have been saying it for decades, don't do that shit. But
Yeah.
I also feel that like with Hunter x Hunter, for example, I don't even care if the series finishes anymore. I think Togashi really lost me as a fan when he was going years without putting out anything, and when he would put something out, it was just sketches on a page and dialogue. Like, you cannot tell me you are an
Ah.
author that cares about your legacy and you care about your fan when you gave me an entire panel of dialogue. Like, and there's a story as promising as it seems right now is so convoluted that you don't think people are going to forget and maybe stop caring when you don't release anything after only putting out 2 chapters over the last 2.5 years. What's
Yeah.
your views on that? I know you've expressed it in videos, but what are your views on mangaka taking long hiatuses? And do you think this is now going to be the norm going forward?
Considering the circumstances on like what it takes to be a mangaka, um, I'm pretty sure if even if you don't know the ins and outs of it uh to a T, people understand generally that it's an unhealthy environment. Just with the amount of work they have to do, we hear a lot about mangaka having back pain and things of that nature. So it's not hiatuses are fine to me, but but when you do take a hiatus, I think there comes the criticism. I think like people have to accept that. I'm not going to get mad at someone for falling off the Hunter x Hunter bandwagon because it's been on hiatus. I did the same thing with Berserk. I fell off completely because Berserk was on hiatus continuously. That doesn't mean that I don't care about the mangaka's health. It's just from my perspective, I'm not going to sit here and just talk about this series that hasn't had chapters for a long time. I'm not going to wait around for it or anything like that. I'm just going to leave it alone and come back. And that messes up the flow for a lot of people, and I understand that. So, like I said, that I can understand the hiatuses from Mangaka's perspective, but when you do that, don't expect the public to accept that, because for a lot of people, it's just we are away for something for so long from something for so long, you break the flow of it, and it's odd, and especially when your contemporaries. I mean, Hunter x Hunter is a weekly series. We're just using that as an example. It has 390 chapters, and it's been around since 1996 or 1998. It's been around that long and only has 390 chapters compared to Naruto, which is ended in the 600s, One Piece that is going in the thousands, Bleach that is in it and is coming back. Like Bleach is coming back, ended and coming back before Hunter x Hunter. So like there's going to be criticisms that come with you taking hiatuses. If it's health involved, do whatever you say. If it was me who if I was having health issues and I was writing a manga, I wouldn't care what other people said about me if I'm taking care of my health. That's just me though. But people have different feelings on it. I just say when things are on hiatus, I just check out other series. That's what I do.
Which is a good thing to do because like there's so much content out there. There's so many series out there, and obviously like there's always too much for a reader to read. You're never going to be able to
Mm-hmm.
read every single manga out there. Sometimes you can revisit series and they're not bad. Like
Yeah.
I revisited Tenjo Tenge, which is still pretty bad, but like I enjoyed parts of it more now that I'm
Yeah.
older and I can understand all of that fucking dialogue more. But just like being able to revisit that manga that came out, I believe the same year, if not like a year after Hunter, and just seeing where manga was at that time and where it was in like the early to mid 2000s, it's very interesting, and you kind of like realize, oh I missed a lot of really interesting things, like
Hmm.
Siren, for example, like all of these cool series that were coming out, but I was so focused on One Piece and Hunter and all of these big series that you never really caught up on it. Even like Ice Shield 21, I always knew about it, but just to go back and like actually read it and then just get an idea of where things were at that time, I don't think I would have done that if I didn't have so many series go on hiatus. Now, that
Yeah.
being said, I think a lot of great series go on hiatus, and I think the authors have fallen out of love with them. And this is just a claim. I'm sure Togashi loves Hunter the same way he loves Yu Yu and all of his other stuff. But I think of like Vagabond, for example. There was no reason for Vagabond to go on hiatus. Like the series is basically done. There was no reason. Reel's now being picked up, but like that author has shown that like if he doesn't like something, he has the clout where he can just drop a series. I think of Nana, for example. I don't believe Nana should
Oh,
still be on hiatus. Nana was one of the best manga. It still stands the test of time. That manga would kill the same way Fruba came back, and everyone is saying now Fruits Basket is the number one anime of all time. That wasn't the case when I was reading that shit back in the day, but it
hmm
just goes to show like when you revisit a series, when you bring a series and you modernize it, you get a new legion of fans. There's that respect. When you let your series rot and be forgotten to time, you lose my respect as someone who reads and like I consume it. And look, I don't draw for a living, so I
hmm
can't say like I know exactly what they're doing, but that doesn't dissolve you from criticism. And I think that's something a lot of anime fans don't realize is that we remember these series as they were coming out. We put up with the 2 years of hiatus. We saw other series go on a 3 week, 5 week, 7 week hiatus and come back. I don't think there's any excuse at all for Hunter not to be published today, except for the fact that the creator doesn't love it anymore. And I would love to be proven wrong because then it means that Hunter comes back. But if I get burnt at the stake for saying this, I'm gonna die on this hill. I don't believe that these mangaka love their series anymore when they go on years on hiatuses.
Yeah, and I think it's fine to say that. Um, when Miura passed, a lot of people were retroactively going to people's opinions on Berserk and saying like, getting a high gotcha moments where they're like, you talk bad about the hiatuses. See, this is what really was going on. The thing is, we don't know. Like, I think it's fine to make certain assumptions because we all do. Like, people can't act like we're going to only comment on things we know 100% without a slither of doubt. I think it's fine to, come to these conclusions because when you're away, Hunter x Hunter has been on hiatus for 3 years, I think. It's going on 3 years this December because it didn't have a chapter since 2018. So it's going on 3 years. I mean, what do you want me to say? It's been 3 years without a single chapter. I'm not talking about a volume, a single chapter. I, People are going to have their thoughts and criticisms when you're away that long. I think it's fine. I think some people overreact